Chapter 1. The Land of Many Stories. Spain is a land of beauty and mystery. Its mountains rise tall, covered with snow. Its beaches stretch wide, kissed by the sea. The warm sun shines on green valleys, rocky cliffs, and dry deserts. This is Spain, a country full of surprises. Long ago, people found this land and made it their home. They hunted, fished, and built small villages. Over time, more people came. Each group brought something new. Each left a piece of their story behind. Close your eyes and imagine. The waves crash on the shore. A ship appears in the distance. It is small, made of wood, and full of sailors. These are the Phoenicians, brave traders from faraway lands. They have come to Spain to sell goods and find treasures. The Phoenicians were some of the first to explore this land. They built ports and brought new ideas, but they were only the beginning. Years passed. Then came the Romans. They marched into Spain with their armies, their swords shining under the sun. The Romans were powerful. They built cities, roads, and bridges. Their buildings were made of stone, strong and tall. Their laws were fair, and their language spread across the land. People still walk on Roman roads today, feeling the history under their feet. In places like Segovia, you can see the aqueduct, a giant structure that carried water. It has stood for 2,000 years. But Spain's story doesn't stop there. The Romans ruled for many years. Then their empire began to fall. Other groups, like the Visigoths, came next. These warriors took over the Roman towns and made them their own. Spain changed again as new leaders brought new ideas. In 711, a great change came to Spain. From across the sea, the Moors arrived. They were people from North Africa, strong and smart. They brought a new religion, Islam, and a new way of life. The Moors were builders and dreamers. They created cities like Córdoba, full of libraries, gardens, and lights. They built the Alhambra in Granada, a palace of red stone and cool fountains. Imagine walking through its halls, hearing the water and feeling the breeze. It was like a dream. But life in Spain was not always peaceful. There were fights and struggles. Christian kingdoms in the north wanted the land back. For hundreds of years they fought the Moors. This was the Reconquista, a long, hard struggle. Imagine the sound of swords clashing, horses galloping, and armies shouting. Towns were burned, and people lost their homes. Yet, they kept fighting. During these battles, legends were born. One was about El Cid, a brave knight who fought with honor. People still tell his story today. It is a story of courage and loyalty, of a man who stood up for what he believed. Finally, in 1492, the Christians took back the last city, Granada. The Catholic monarchs, Isabella and Ferdinand, stood victorious. The Reconquista was over. Spain was united, but the land had been shaped by all who came before. Now, Spain was ready for something new. Its story would grow even bigger, spreading across the world. But the land itself kept its memories. The mountains, beaches, and valleys had seen it all. They hold the secrets of the past. Spain is a land of many stories. Each corner tells a different tale. In the north, the green hills of Galicia whisper about Celtic tribes. In the south, the dry plains of Andalusia sing songs of the Moors. On the islands, the winds carry tales of sailors and explorers. Everywhere you go, history speaks. And yet, Spain is not just a story of the past. It is alive, full of color and sound. Its people are proud of their land. They celebrate with music, dance, and food. They remember where they came from, but they also look to the future. As you listen to this tale, imagine walking through Spain. Feel the warm sun on your face. Hear the waves on the beach. Smell the oranges in the air. See the castles on the hills. This is Spain, a place where the past and present live together. The land has seen war, peace, and everything in between. It has been shaped by many hands, from the Phoenicians to the Moors, from the Romans to the Christians. Each left their mark. Each added a piece to the puzzle. And the story isn't over. New chapters are still being written. Spain continues to inspire, to grow, and to share its beauty with the world. It is a land of mountains, beaches, and history, a land of many stories. What will your story be in Spain? Will you walk the Roman roads? Will you explore the Alhambra? Or will you sit by the sea, letting the waves tell their secrets? The choice is yours. Spain is waiting for you. Chapter 2. Rome's Legacy. Imagine standing in a city long ago. The streets are wide and busy. There are shops, fountains, and people everywhere. Tall columns rise above you. Grand buildings shine in the sunlight. This was Spain during Roman times, a land full of life, power, and progress. The Romans came to Spain over 2,000 years ago. Before them, there were tribes and small villages, but the Romans changed everything. They didn't just take the land, they shaped it. They built cities, roads, and walls. They brought their laws, their language, and their way of life. Close your eyes and picture it. A Roman soldier walks along a stone road. His armor shines. He is strong and proud. This road is part of a vast network. The Romans built roads everywhere, connecting towns and cities. Merchants traveled these roads to sell goods. Farmers used them to bring crops to market. People could travel faster and farther than ever before. One of the most famous Roman roads in Spain is the Via Augusta. It stretched across the land, from the Pyrenees in the north to Cadiz in the south. Imagine walking along this road. You would hear the sound of wagons, the chatter of travelers, and the clinking of coins. But the Romans didn't just build roads, they built cities. One of the greatest was Merida in western Spain. Merida was a center of Roman life. It had a theater where people watched plays. It had an amphitheater for gladiator fights. The crowds cheered as men battled for glory. Feel the excitement as you step into the theater. The seats are full. The actors on stage speak loudly, their voices echoing. People laugh and clap. The Romans loved entertainment. They believed it was important for the people to gather, to share stories, and to enjoy life. Now, imagine the amphitheater. It is larger and louder. The air is tense. Two gladiators face each other. The crowd shouts, "Fight! Fight!" The clash of swords fills the arena. For the Romans, these games were more than just sport. They showed strength, courage, and honor. But Roman cities were not only about fun. They were well organized. They had baths, markets, and temples. People could gather to talk, trade, or pray. The baths were special places. Imagine warm water, steam, and people chatting. It was a place to relax and connect. In the north of Spain, the city of Segovia holds one of the most famous Roman treasures, the aqueduct. This giant structure carried water to the city. It is made of stone, with no cement to hold it together. Yet, it still stands today, strong and majestic. The aqueduct is a symbol of Roman engineering. Imagine the hard work it took to build. Every stone was placed with care. The Romans were also farmers and builders of the land. They taught the people how to grow new crops like olives and grapes. They built irrigation systems to bring water to the fields. Thanks to them, Spain became rich in agriculture. Even today, Spanish olive oil and wine are known around the world. The Roman influence was not only in stone and soil, it was in words and ideas. The Romans spoke Latin, and over time, the people of Spain began to use it too. Latin grew and changed, becoming the Spanish language we know today. Many words in Spanish come directly from Latin. The Romans also brought their laws. They believed in justice and fairness. Their legal system became the foundation for Spain's laws. Imagine a Roman courtroom. A judge listens carefully as two people argue their case. The judge uses Roman law to decide what is fair. But life in Roman Spain was not always easy. There were struggles and rebellions. Not everyone wanted Roman rule. One of the most famous battles took place in Numancia, a city in the north. The people of Numancia fought bravely against the Romans. They refused to give up their freedom. Their story is one of courage and resistance. Eventually, the Roman Empire grew weak. It became harder to control such a vast land. Other groups, like the Visigoths, began to invade. The Roman way of life slowly faded, but their legacy remained. Today, you can still see Roman ruins across Spain. In Tarragona, there is a Roman circus where chariot races once thrilled the crowds. In Córdoba, you can walk through the remains of a Roman temple. Each stone tells a story. Imagine visiting these places. You touch the cold stone of an ancient wall. You stand where gladiators once fought, where actors performed, where merchants traded. The past feels close, almost alive. The Romans left more than buildings and roads. They left ideas about how to live, work, and govern. They brought art and culture. They taught people to think big, to dream of greatness. Spain is a country of many layers. The Roman layer is one of the strongest. It is in the roads we walk, the words we speak, and the olive oil we taste. It is in the ruins that remind us of a time when Spain was part of a mighty empire. As you think about the Romans, remember their courage, their skill, and their vision. They were builders of cities and dreams. They changed Spain forever. Their legacy lives on, waiting for you to discover it. Do you hear the echoes of their footsteps? They are calling, inviting you to walk the roads they built, to see the cities they loved, and to feel the power of their story. Chapter 3. The Moorish Kingdoms. The year was 711. The sun was rising over the coast of southern Spain. Across the water, ships appeared. They carried people from North Africa, known as the Moors. These people brought something new ideas, new beliefs, and new ways of life. Spain was about to change forever. The Moors were skilled and knowledgeable. They came from lands of deserts and mountains, of ancient cities and wisdom. They brought their religion, Islam, but also much more. They believed in learning, in beauty, and in progress. When they arrived, they saw Spain as a land of opportunity. Imagine their first steps onto Spanish soil. The land was green and fertile. The rivers sparkled in the sunlight. The Moors knew this place could become a paradise, and they set to work. The Moors didn't only conquer with swords. They built, studied, and shared their knowledge. They introduced advanced farming techniques. They dug canals and created irrigation systems to bring water to dry fields. Thanks to them, crops like rice, citrus fruits, and almonds flourished. The land became rich and full of life. In the south, they founded great cities. Córdoba became the heart of Moorish Spain. Imagine walking through its streets. The air smells of orange blossoms. You hear the sounds of merchants in the market, selling silks, spices, and perfumes. The streets are alive with people speaking many languages, Arabic, Latin, and even some ancient tongues of Spain. Córdoba was not just a city, it was a center of learning. Its libraries held thousands of books. Scholars came from all over to study there. They worked on medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. The Moors translated works from Greek and Roman writers, saving knowledge that might have been lost. At the center of Córdoba stood the Great Mosque. Its beauty was unmatched. Inside, rows of red and white arches seemed to stretch forever. The light danced through the windows, cast in patterns on the floor. It was a place of peace and wonder. But Córdoba was not the only gem of Moorish Spain. Far to the east, Granada rose as another great city. And in Granada, the Moors built one of the most famous landmarks in the world, the Alhambra. The Alhambra was more than a palace. It was a masterpiece. Imagine walking through its halls. The walls are covered with carvings, each more intricate than the last. Arabic words flow across the stone, praising God and celebrating beauty. Fountains bubble softly in courtyards filled with flowers. The air is cool and fragrant. The Alhambra was a place of dreams. From its towers, you could see the city below and the mountains in the distance. It was a symbol of power, but also of art and imagination. Even today, visitors stand in awe of its beauty. But life in Moorish Spain was not always peaceful. There were moments of tension, of battles and struggles. Some Christian kingdoms in the north did not accept Moorish rule. They wanted their land back. These conflicts lasted for centuries. Still, the Moors and Christians did not always fight. In some places, they worked together. They traded goods, shared ideas, and even lived side by side. This mixing of cultures created something unique. It gave Spain a richness unlike any other place in Europe. As time passed, the power of the Moors began to weaken. The Christian kingdoms grew stronger. One by one, they took back cities and land. By the 1400s, only Granada remained under Moorish rule. The end came in 1492. The Catholic monarchs, Isabella and Ferdinand, marched into Granada. The last Moorish ruler, Boabdil, handed over the keys to the city. Imagine that moment. Boabdil looking back at the Alhambra, tears in his eyes. His mother is said to have told him, "Do not weep like a child for what you could not defend as a man." The fall of Granada marked the end of Moorish Spain, but their legacy remained. The Moors had left their mark on the land, the people, and the culture. Their influence could be seen in the architecture, in the language, and even in the food. Words like aceituna, olive, and azucar, sugar, come from Arabic. So do styles of music and dance that still move people today. The Moors taught Spain to value knowledge and beauty. They showed that different cultures could create something greater together. Their time in Spain was a golden age, a time of learning, art, and innovation. Even now, you can feel their presence. Walk through the Alhambra, and you will hear the whispers of the past. Stand under the arches of the great mosque, and you will feel their strength. Taste the oranges of southern Spain, and you will taste their gift to the land. The story of the Moors is not just a story of conquest. It is a story of hope, creativity, and vision. They took a land and made it bloom. They left a legacy that still inspires the world. So, what will you remember about the Moors? Their knowledge, their art, their courage. Their story is part of Spain's story, and it is part of the world's story too. As this chapter closes, think about their journey. From across the sea, they came with dreams and ideas. They built a world of wonder, and even when their time ended, their spirit lived on. The Moors taught us that beauty and knowledge can last forever. Their story, like their cities, stands tall. It is waiting for you to discover it, to walk through its streets, to feel its magic. Chapter 4. The Fight for the Crown. The Moors ruled Spain for many centuries. Their cities were rich and full of life, but in the north, Christian kingdoms grew strong. These kingdoms wanted their land back. They believed Spain should be Christian, as it was before the Moors came. This struggle became known as the Reconquista. It lasted for over 700 years. Imagine a land divided. In the south, the Moors ruled great cities like Córdoba and Granada. In the north, small Christian kingdoms prepared for war. It was not one battle. It was many battles, fought over many generations. The Reconquista was a long, slow fight. The Christian kings and queens were determined. They built castles on hilltops, strong and safe. From these castles, they planned their attacks. Imagine knights in shining armor, riding on horseback through the mountains. They carried swords and shields, ready to fight for their land. In the early days of the Reconquista, victories were small. A village here, a castle there. The Christian kingdoms were not united. Each kingdom had its own ruler, its own army, and its own plans. Sometimes they even fought each other. But over time, things began to change. The Christian kingdoms started to work together. They realized they were stronger as allies. By the 1200s, they had taken back much of Spain. The Moors still held the south, but the Christian armies were moving closer. One of the great leaders of the Reconquista was King Alfonso VI of Leon and Castile. He captured Toledo in 1085. Toledo was a powerful city. Its fall was a big loss for the Moors. Imagine the gates of the city opening, the Christian army marching in. The people of Toledo watched with fear and hope. For the Christians, it was a moment of triumph. Toledo became a center of learning. Scholars came from all over to study there. They translated books from Arabic, Latin, and Greek. Knowledge from the Moors, the Romans, and even ancient Greece was shared. The city became a symbol of what Spain could achieve. But the Reconquista was far from over. In the 13th century, another great king rose to power, Ferdinand III of Castile. He was known as Saint Ferdinand because of his deep faith. Ferdinand captured Córdoba in 1236 and Seville in 1248. Each victory brought the Christians closer to their goal. Imagine the joy in the Christian camps after a victory. The soldiers cheered. The flags of their kingdoms waved in the wind. But imagine the sadness in the cities they took. Families were forced to leave their homes. Some stayed and lived under Christian rule. But life was not easy for them. For the Moors, these losses were devastating. Their land grew smaller and smaller. By the 1400s, only Granada remained. Granada was a beautiful city, surrounded by mountains. It was the last stronghold of the Moors in Spain. In the north, two powerful Christian rulers came to the throne, Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon. They married in 1469, uniting their kingdoms. Together, they had one goal: to take Granada. The War for Granada began in 1482. It was a hard and bitter fight. The Christian armies surrounded the city. They cut off food and supplies. Inside Granada, the people suffered. They were hungry and scared. But they held on, hoping for a miracle. Outside the city, Isabella and Ferdinand built a new town for their army. They called it Santa Fe, the Holy Faith. It was a symbol of their determination. The Christian soldiers prayed and prepared for the final attack. Imagine the tension as the siege dragged on. The sound of cannons echoed through the valley. Smoke rose from the city walls. Inside Granada, the Moorish leader, Boabdil, faced a terrible choice. Should he fight to the death, or should he surrender? In January 1492, Boabdil made his decision. He met Isabella and Ferdinand outside the city. With a heavy heart, he handed them the keys to Granada. The Reconquista was over. Spain was united. But it was not a joyful ending for everyone. As Boabdil left Granada, he turned to look at the Alhambra one last time. Tears filled his eyes. His mother's words were sharp. "Do not weep like a child for what you could not defend as a man." His sorrow became a legend, remembered for centuries. With the fall of Granada, Isabella and Ferdinand became the most powerful rulers in Europe. They were called the Catholic monarchs. They wanted Spain to be a Christian kingdom. They ordered all Jews and Muslims to convert to Christianity or leave Spain. Many people lost their homes. Some stayed and hid their true faith. It was a time of fear and loss. But for Isabella and Ferdinand, it was also a time of triumph. They believed they had done God's work. They celebrated their victory with grand ceremonies. Churches were built where mosques once stood. The Alhambra, the jewel of Granada, became a royal palace. The Reconquista shaped Spain's history forever. It was a story of courage and determination, but also of pain and division. The land was united, but at a great cost. Today, we can still see the marks of this struggle. Castles from the Reconquista stand on hilltops. The Alhambra remains, a reminder of the Moorish kingdom. And in the streets of Spain, the blend of cultures can still be felt. The Reconquista was not just a fight for land. It was a fight for identity. The Christians believed they were reclaiming their home. The Moors fought to keep what they had built. Both sides showed bravery and strength. As we look back, we see a story of struggle and hope. The Reconquista teaches us about the power of belief, the cost of war, and the importance of understanding each other. It is a chapter in Spain's history that will never be forgotten. Chapter 5. Gold, Glory, and the New World. It was the late 1400s. Spain had just united under Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. The Reconquista was over, and the Moors had been defeated. But the Catholic monarchs wanted more. They dreamed of wealth and power. They wanted to make Spain the most powerful country in the world. At the same time, explorers spoke of distant lands. They believed that across the ocean there were riches waiting to be found. Gold, spices, and treasures beyond imagination. These tales filled people's hearts with excitement and wonder. One of these explorers was Christopher Columbus. He was an Italian sailor with a bold idea. He believed he could reach Asia by sailing west, across the Atlantic Ocean. Many thought he was wrong. They said the journey was too far, too dangerous. But Columbus was determined. In 1492, Isabella and Ferdinand agreed to support him. They gave him 3 ships, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Columbus and his crew set out from Spain, their sails catching the wind. Imagine the vast, empty ocean stretching out before them. The waves rolled endlessly. Days turned into weeks. The sailors grew restless. "Will we ever find land?" they asked. Fear filled the air. What if they were wrong? What if they never returned home? But Columbus urged them on. He promised riches and glory. Then, on October 12, 1492, the cry came. Land. The sailors saw an island in the distance. They had reached the New World. Columbus believed he had found Asia, but he was wrong. He had discovered a land unknown to Europeans, America. The news of Columbus's journey spread quickly. Spain celebrated. This was the beginning of something new. The New World was full of possibilities. Soon, more ships set sail, carrying explorers, soldiers, and settlers. The Spanish called these adventurers conquistadors. They were men of courage, but also of greed. They wanted gold, silver, and fame. They dreamed of becoming rich and powerful, but their dreams came at a cost. One of the most famous conquistadors was Hernán Cortés. In 1519, he landed in Mexico with a small army. There, he met the Aztecs, a powerful civilization with grand cities and temples. The Aztecs had gold, more than Cortés had ever seen. He wanted it all. Through clever tricks and brutal battles, Cortés defeated the Aztecs. Their emperor, Montezuma, was captured and killed. The grand city of Tenochtitlan was destroyed. Imagine the flames rising, the sound of buildings falling, and the cries of the people. It was a moment of triumph for Cortés, but a tragedy for the Aztecs. Farther south, another conquistador, Francisco Pizarro, set his sights on the Inca Empire in Peru. The Incas were rich in gold and silver. Pizarro tricked their leader, Atahualpa, into a trap. He demanded a room filled with gold as ransom. The Incas brought the gold, but Pizarro killed Atahualpa anyway. Spain grew rich from these conquests. Ships crossed the ocean, carrying treasures back to Europe. Gold and silver poured into Spanish cities. The streets were filled with celebrations. Spain became the most powerful country in the world. But this wealth came with problems. The search for gold and silver changed Spain. People became greedy. They stopped focusing on farming and trade. They only wanted treasure from the New World. For the native people of America, life became a nightmare. Many were forced to work in mines, digging for gold and silver. Others worked on farms, growing crops for the Spanish. They were treated poorly, and many died from overwork and disease. The Spanish also brought new animals, like horses, cows, and pigs. They brought new crops, like wheat and sugar. These things changed the Americas forever, but they also brought diseases, like smallpox. The native people had no protection against these illnesses. Millions died. In Europe, the gold and silver from the New World created new problems. Prices went up. People called it inflation. The rich became richer, but the poor struggled. Spain spent its wealth on wars and luxury. Over time, the economy weakened, but not all of Spain's influence in the New World was harmful. The Spanish built cities, churches, and schools. They introduced new ideas and technologies. They shared their language and culture. The blending of Spanish and native cultures created something new, something unique. Imagine walking through a city like Mexico City or Lima today. You see the mix of old and new. Spanish cathedrals stand next to ancient temples. The streets are alive with music, food, and art that blend traditions from both worlds. The age of exploration was a time of great change. It brought Spain wealth and power, but it also brought pain and loss. It connected Europe and the Americas in ways that would never be undone. The explorers and conquistadors were driven by dreams of gold and glory. They were brave, but also flawed. Their actions shaped the world, for better or worse. As we look back, we can learn from this history. We see the importance of balance, of seeking success without harming others. We see the power of discovery, but also the danger of greed. Spain's journey into the New World was one of its greatest chapters. It showed the strength and ambition of its people. It showed their ability to dream big and take risks. But it also reminds us to think carefully about our actions, to ask, what is the true cost of glory? What is the price of gold? The New World changed Spain forever, and Spain changed the world. It was a time of wonders and challenges, of triumph and tragedy. Before we begin Chapter 6, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on Woo English. Remember, this content is specially made for Woo English listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of Woo English's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 6. Art from the Heart. Spain is a land of creativity. Its artists have painted, drawn, and shaped works that speak to the soul. Each artist tells a story. Some stories are about faith, others about pain, and some about dreams. Their art has touched the world, inspiring people across time. Let's begin with El Greco. He was born in Greece but made Spain his home. The name El Greco means the Greek. He lived during the 1500s in the city of Toledo. Imagine walking into a dark, quiet church. On the walls are his paintings, tall figures, glowing with light, their faces full of emotion. El Greco's art was dramatic. His colors were rich, his shapes stretched. He painted saints and angels, but also ordinary people. His most famous work, The Burial of the Count of Orgaz, shows both heaven and earth. In it, a count is being laid to rest, surrounded by priests and villagers. Above, angels lift his soul to heaven. Standing before this painting, you can feel the depth of faith and the sadness of loss. El Greco's work reminds us of the connection between the human and the divine. Now, let's move forward in time to Francisco de Goya. Goya lived in the 1700s and early 1800s, a time of change and war. He was the painter of kings, but also of the people. Goya's art is full of contrasts, beauty and horror, light and shadow. One of his early works is called The Family of Charles IV. It shows Spain's royal family. They wear fine clothes. Their jewels sparkle. But look closely. Their faces are serious, even sad. Goya painted them as they were, not as they wanted to be seen. Later in his life, Goya's art changed. He lived during a time of violence, the Peninsular War between Spain and France. The war was brutal. Goya saw its horrors and painted them. His series, The Disasters of War, shows scenes of suffering. Soldiers attack innocent people. Villages burn. The paintings are raw and painful. Goya's most famous work from this time is the 3rd of May, 1808. In it, soldiers aim their guns at a group of prisoners. One man stands with his arms raised, his face full of fear and courage. The light shines on him, while the soldiers are in shadow. It is a powerful image of resistance and sacrifice. Goya's art shows the highs and lows of Spain, its beauty, its struggles, its strength. He painted what he saw, even when it was difficult. Now, let us step into the 20th century, a time of bold ideas and new styles. One name stands out above the rest: Pablo Picasso. Picasso was born in Malaga in 1881. From a young age, he showed great talent. His father was an artist, and Picasso learned quickly. Picasso's early works are full of emotion. During his blue period, he painted sad, lonely figures. The color blue filled his canvases. Later, during his rose period, his art became warmer. He painted circus performers, musicians, and dancers. But Picasso wanted more. He wanted to break the rules of art. He helped create a new style called Cubism. In Cubism, objects are broken into shapes and rearranged. A face might have 2 noses or 3 eyes. At first, people didn't understand it. But Picasso believed that art should show more than what we see. It should show how we feel. His most famous work is Guernica. Painted in 1937, it shows the horrors of war. During the Spanish Civil War, the town of Guernica was bombed. Picasso was shocked and angry. He poured his feelings into the painting. Guernica is black, white, and gray. It is full of chaos. A woman screams, holding her dead child. A horse falls in pain. A broken sword lies on the ground. The painting is not realistic, but it is powerful. It makes you feel the fear, the loss, the destruction of war. Picasso's work changed the world of art. He showed that art could be anything. It could break rules, tell stories, and express emotions in new ways. But Picasso was not the only Spanish artist of his time. Salvador Dali from Catalonia painted dreams and strange worlds. His famous work, The Persistence of Memory, shows melting clocks in a desert. Dali's art is mysterious and full of imagination. Spain's art has always been full of heart. Each artist has brought something unique. They have shown us faith, struggle, and dreams. Their works are windows into Spain's soul. Today, you can see their art in museums around the world. The Prado in Madrid holds the works of El Greco and Goya. The Reina Sofia Museum has Picasso's Guernica. In Barcelona, the Picasso Museum tells the story of his life. Imagine standing before one of these paintings. The colors, the shapes, the emotions. They pull you in. You feel connected to the artist, to their time, to their story. Art has the power to cross centuries, to speak to our hearts. Spain's artists remind us of the power of creativity. They show us that art can heal, inspire, and challenge. It can make us think, make us cry, and make us dream. What will you remember about Spain's artists? Their boldness, their emotion, their vision? Each one has left a mark, not only on Spain, but on the world. Chapter 7. The Spirit of Flamenco. Listen closely. Do you hear the soft strum of a guitar? The quick clap of hands? The beat of heels on a wooden floor? This is the sound of flamenco. It is not just music or dance. Flamenco is a feeling. It is joy, sorrow, and passion all at once. It is the heart of southern Spain. Flamenco was born in Andalusia, a region of mountains, olive trees, and white villages. Its roots are deep and complex. It comes from a mix of cultures: Spanish, Moorish, Gypsy, and even Jewish. Each group added something to the music. They added their stories, their pain, their hopes. Imagine a small, crowded room. The lights are dim. A man sits with a guitar in his hands. His fingers move quickly, playing soft, deep notes. A singer stands beside him. Her voice rises, full of emotion. She sings of lost love, of heartbreak, of the struggle of life. This is Cante, the song of flamenco. It is raw and honest. It speaks directly to the heart. The words might be sad, but they are full of beauty. Now, listen to the clapping hands. Some are soft, like rain. Others are sharp, like thunder. This is palmas, the rhythm of flamenco. It is like the beating of a drum, keeping the music alive. And then you hear the dancer. Her shoes strike the floor with power. She moves with grace, spinning and stomping. Her arms rise like waves, strong and elegant. Her face is serious, full of concentration. This is baile, the dance of flamenco. Flamenco dancers do not just follow the music. They become part of it. Each step is a conversation with the guitar and the voice. They tell their own story with every turn, every stomp, every flick of the wrist. The origins of flamenco are mysterious. No one knows exactly when it began. Some say it started in the gypsy camps of Andalusia. Others say it came from the Moorish songs that filled the air centuries ago. What we do know is that flamenco grew among the people, the poor, the workers, the wanderers. For them, flamenco was a way to express their feelings. Life was hard, but flamenco gave them a voice. It was their music, their dance, their story. In the 19th century, flamenco moved from the streets to the stage. Cafés cantantes or singing cafes became popular. People would gather to watch flamenco performances. Imagine the excitement as the dancer took the stage, her dress flowing behind her. The crowd watched in silence, holding their breath. And when the performance ended, the room filled with applause. Flamenco became famous. It spread beyond Spain, to Europe, to America, to the world. People fell in love with its power and passion. But even as flamenco became popular, it never lost its heart. It remained true to its roots. It still spoke of life's struggles and joys. It still connected people from different places and backgrounds. There are many forms of flamenco. Some are slow and sad, like seguirias. They speak of deep sorrow and loss. Others are light and happy, like alegrias. They celebrate life and laughter. One of the most famous flamenco singers was Camarón de la Isla. His voice was unique, full of fire and soul. He changed flamenco, mixing traditional sounds with modern ideas. His songs still move people today. Another legend of flamenco was Paco de Lucia, a guitarist like no other. His fingers flew across the strings, creating music that seemed to dance in the air. He showed the world the magic of flamenco guitar. For flamenco dancers, one name stands out: Sarah Barras. She is known for her strength and grace. Her dances are powerful, full of emotion and elegance. She has taken flamenco to stages around the globe, showing its beauty to the world. Flamenco is not easy to learn. It takes years of practice and dedication. But it is not just about technique. It is about feeling. A true flamenco artist must feel the music, live the story, and share it with the audience. Imagine watching a flamenco performance. The guitar plays softly, then faster. The singer's voice rises, full of emotion. The dancer moves across the stage, her shoes striking the floor. You feel every note, every beat, deep inside. Flamenco is not just heard. It is felt. It is a language of the heart. Today, flamenco is part of Spain's soul. It is performed in theaters, in plazas, in homes. It is taught in schools and passed down from generation to generation. But flamenco is more than a performance. It is a way of life. It is about expressing what words cannot say. It is about living fully with passion and honesty. So, the next time you hear the strum of a guitar, listen closely. The spirit of flamenco is there, waiting to tell its story. It speaks of love and loss, of strength and courage, of life in all its beauty and pain. Chapter 8. A Land Divided. The 20th century was a hard time for Spain. The country faced war, pain, and fear. But through it all, the people held on to hope. They dreamed of peace, even when their world seemed broken. In 1936, Spain fell into civil war. The country was divided into two sides. On one side were the Republicans. They wanted change. They believed in democracy and freedom. On the other side were the nationalists, led by General Francisco Franco. They wanted a strong government and tradition. Families, friends, and neighbors chose sides. Some supported the Republicans, while others stood with the nationalists. The division tore the country apart. The war began with violence. Soldiers marched through towns. Bombs fell from the sky. In the city of Guernica, planes destroyed homes and killed hundreds. Imagine the chaos, the smoke rising, the screams, the sound of explosions. It was a moment of horror. The artist Pablo Picasso painted Guernica to show the pain of that day. The painting is full of suffering. A mother holds her dead child. A horse falls in agony. The colors are black, white, and gray like ashes after a fire. As the war went on, life became harder. Food was scarce. Families struggled to survive. Children grew up in fear. hearing gunshots and explosions. Some people fled Spain, hoping to find safety in other countries. The war ended in 1939. The nationalists won. Francisco Franco became the leader of Spain. He ruled as a dictator. Under his rule, Spain changed. Franco wanted control. He banned political parties and silenced those who disagreed with him. Life was difficult for many. People who supported the Republicans were punished. Some were sent to prison. Others disappeared. The country lived in fear. But even in these dark times, people did not lose hope. In secret, they shared their dreams of freedom. They sang songs of resistance. They told stories of a better future. Under Franco, Spain was isolated. The rest of the world moved forward, but Spain stayed behind. The economy struggled. Many people were poor. But slowly, things began to change. In the 1950s and 1960s, Spain opened its doors to tourists. People from other countries came to see its beaches, cities, and culture. Tourism brought money and new ideas. It showed the people of Spain a different way of life. At the same time, young people began to speak out. They wanted freedom. They wanted to choose their leaders. They wanted democracy. Franco ruled until his death in 1975. His death marked the end of an era. Spain stood at a crossroads. What would happen next? Would the country fall back into chaos? Or could it find peace? King Juan Carlos took the throne after Franco's death. Many expected him to continue Franco's ways. But the king surprised everyone. He supported democracy. He worked to unite the country. In 1978, Spain wrote a new constitution. It gave the people the right to vote. It created a government that represented everyone. The people of Spain chose freedom. It was not easy to move forward. The wounds of the past were still fresh. Families remembered the pain of the Civil War. But Spain began to heal. The economy grew. Cities like Madrid and Barcelona became modern and vibrant. Artists, writers, and musicians brought new energy to the country. Spain was no longer divided. Today, Spain is a democracy. It is a country that values freedom and peace. But it has not forgotten its past. The scars of the Civil War and Franco's rule remain. They are a reminder of how hard the people fought for their dreams. Imagine standing in Spain now. You see the bustling streets, the laughter, the life. But beneath it, you feel the weight of history. The people of Spain know what it means to struggle. They know what it means to hope. The story of Spain in the 20th century is one of pain and triumph. It shows the strength of the human spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, we can find light. Chapter 9. The Rise of Democracy. In 1975, Spain stood at a turning point. Francisco Franco, the dictator who had ruled for nearly 40 years, had died. His death marked the end of a dark era. The country was ready for change. People wanted freedom, equality, and hope for the future. The question was clear. What would Spain become? For decades, Spain had been under strict control. Political parties were banned. People were afraid to speak their minds. Many had lived in silence, waiting for a better day. Now, that day had arrived, but the road ahead was uncertain. King Juan Carlos III became Spain's leader after Franco. At first, many believed he would continue the old ways. After all, Franco had chosen him. But Juan Carlos had a different vision. He dreamed of a democratic Spain, a Spain where people could vote and choose their leaders. The first step was difficult. Spain had no recent experience with democracy. There were divisions between those who supported Franco's ideas and those who wanted change. Tensions were high. People wondered, could the country move forward without falling into chaos? Juan Carlos acted with wisdom. He chose Adolfo Suarez, a young and talented politician, to lead the government. Suarez was tasked with a great challenge: to create a new Spain. Together, the king and Suarez began to plan the transition. The first step was to allow political parties again. For years, people had been silenced. Now, they could speak freely. Imagine the energy in the air as parties formed, debates began, and ideas flowed. The people of Spain had a voice once more. In 1977, Spain held its first democratic elections in decades. It was a historic moment. Men and women from all walks of life went to the polls. They stood in long lines, holding their ballots with pride. The excitement was electric. The people had chosen democracy. Adolfo Suarez became Spain's first elected prime minister. Under his leadership, a new constitution was written. It was approved in 1978. This constitution became the foundation of modern Spain. It declared Spain a parliamentary monarchy, where the king's role was symbolic and the people had the power to govern. The Constitution also recognized the diversity of Spain. It allowed regions like Catalonia, the Basque Country, and Galicia to have their own governments and languages. This helped heal old wounds and bring people together. But the path to democracy was not without challenges. In 1981, a group of military officers tried to take control of the government. They stormed the Spanish Parliament during a session. It was a moment of great fear. Imagine the scene. Soldiers entered the room pointing guns. Politicians froze in their seats. The future of Spain hung in the balance. But King Juan Carlos acted quickly. He gave a speech on television calling for peace and support for democracy. The coup failed. Spain's democracy survived. This moment showed the strength of the people's will. They refused to go back to the past. They had chosen freedom, and they were determined to protect it. In the years that followed, Spain began to grow and change. The economy improved. New industries were built. Tourism brought money and visitors from around the world. Spanish cities like Madrid and Barcelona became centers of art, culture, and innovation. Spain also joined the European Union in 1986. This was an important step. It connected Spain to other democratic countries and helped its economy grow. Spain was no longer isolated. It was part of a larger community. During this time, Spanish society became more open. People enjoyed new freedoms. Women gained more rights, and equality became a priority. Young people had opportunities their parents could only dream of. Art, music, and film flourished. Directors like Pedro Almodovar created movies that explored modern Spain. Musicians brought flamenco, rock, and pop to the world stage. The energy of the new Spain was exciting and fresh. The 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona was a proud moment for the country. It showed the world how far Spain had come. The Games were a celebration of unity, progress, and hope. But democracy also brought challenges. Spain had to deal with regional tensions. Some regions, like Catalonia and the Basque Country, wanted more independence. These debates continue today, but Spain's democratic system allows for discussion and negotiation. Spain also faced economic crises, especially in the late 2000s. Unemployment rose and many families struggled, but the people of Spain worked together to recover. They showed resilience and strength, just as they had during the transition to democracy. Today, Spain is a vibrant and free country. Its democracy is strong. The people elect their leaders and express their opinions. They celebrate their culture, history, and diversity. Imagine walking through Spain now. In Madrid, you see bustling streets, busy markets, and lively cafes. In Barcelona, you hear the hum of creativity in art galleries and design studios. In Andalusia, you feel the rhythm of flamenco and the warmth of the sun. Everywhere, you see a country that has grown from its past. Spain is a place where the lessons of history guide the hopes of the future. The rise of democracy in Spain is a story of courage, vision, and determination. It shows how people can overcome fear and division. It reminds us that change is possible, even in the face of great challenges. The people of Spain chose a new path in 1975. It was not an easy journey, but it was worth it. Today, Spain stands as a symbol of hope. It is a reminder that nations, like people, can heal and grow. Chapter 10. Food for the Soul. Spain is a country full of flavor. Its food is more than just meals. It is a story, a celebration, and a way to bring people together. Each dish tells of Spain's history, its culture, and its spirit. Close your eyes. Imagine the smell of fresh bread, the sizzle of olive oil, and the warmth of spices in the air. This is the taste of Spain. One of Spain's most famous dishes is paella. It comes from Valencia, a region by the sea. Picture a wide, shallow pan over a fire. Inside, golden rice cooks slowly. It is mixed with saffron, vegetables, and seafood like shrimp and mussels. Sometimes chicken or rabbit is added. The flavors blend together perfectly. Paella is more than food. It is a tradition. Families and friends gather to cook it outdoors. They laugh, share stories, and enjoy the sunshine. When the paella is ready, everyone sits together to eat. It is a dish that brings people closer. Another iconic food is tapas. Tapas are small plates of food, perfect for sharing. They can be simple or complex. Imagine crispy patatas bravas, potatoes topped with spicy sauce, or jamón ibérico, thin slices of cured ham. There are also gambas al ajillo, shrimp cooked in garlic and oil. Tapas are not just about eating. They are about connection. People meet in bars and share these dishes while talking and laughing. It is a way to enjoy life, one bite at a time. For something sweet, Spain offers churros. These golden, fried pastries are crispy on the outside and soft inside. They are often served with a cup of thick, rich chocolate. Imagine dipping a warm churro into the chocolate and tasting the perfect mix of crunch and sweetness. Spanish food reflects its history. The Moors, who ruled Spain for centuries, introduced spices like saffron, cinnamon, and cumin. They also brought almonds and citrus fruits, which are still used in many recipes today. When Spain began exploring the Americas, it discovered new ingredients. Tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers became part of Spanish cooking. Imagine a world without these foods. It is hard to picture. One dish that shows this mix of influences is gazpacho, a cold tomato soup. It is refreshing on a hot summer day. The bright flavors of tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers come together perfectly. Gazpacho is simple but full of history. In northern Spain, the food is different. The region of Galicia is known for its seafood, pulpo a la gallega, or Galician-style octopus, is a favorite. The octopus is boiled, sliced, and sprinkled with olive oil, salt, and paprika. The taste is fresh and unforgettable. In the Basque Country, you will find pentexos. These are small snacks, similar to tapas, but served on skewers or slices of bread. Bars display them like treasures, and people enjoy them with a glass of wine or cider. Speaking of drinks, Spain is famous for its wine. The region of La Rioja produces some of the best. Imagine the deep red color of a glass of Rioja wine. Its rich, smooth taste warms you with every sip. For something lighter, there is sangria. This drink is made with wine, fruit, and a touch of sweetness. It is perfect for a sunny afternoon. In Andalusia, you can taste sherry, a unique type of wine. It can be dry or sweet, depending on the style. Each sip tells of the region's history and traditions. Spain's food is not just about what is on the plate. It is about the experience. Picture a bustling market, like La Boqueria in Barcelona. The stalls are full of fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, and cheeses. The colors and smells are vibrant and exciting. In small villages, people celebrate food with festivals. In Buñol, there is the Tomatina, a festival where people throw tomatoes at each other. It is messy, joyful, and unforgettable. In Valencia, the Fallas festival fills the air with the smell of paella cooking over fires. In every corner of Spain, food is part of life's celebrations. Spanish food is also about family. In many homes, meals are a time to gather. The table is filled with plates of food, glasses of wine, and the sound of conversation. Grandmothers pass down recipes, teaching the next generation how to cook. Imagine sitting at a Spanish dinner table. The meal begins with soup or salad, followed by fish or meat, and ends with dessert. Each dish is made with care, and everyone takes their time to enjoy it. One dessert that is loved across Spain is flan. This creamy custard, topped with caramel sauce, melts in your mouth. Another favorite is turrón, a sweet made from almonds and honey. It is especially popular during Christmas. Spanish food is diverse. Each region has its own specialties, its own flavors. From the mountains to the coast, every bite tells a story. But what makes Spanish food truly special is its heart. It is made to be shared. It is full of love, history, and tradition. It reminds us of the simple joys in life, of sitting with loved ones, of tasting something delicious, of being present in the moment. As this chapter ends, imagine the taste of Spain, the rich saffron of paella, the sweetness of churros, the boldness of Rioja wine. Each flavor is a piece of Spain's soul. Chapter 11. Festivals and Joy. Spain is a country of celebration. Its festivals are loud, colorful, and full of energy. Each one is unique, and each tells a story about the people and their traditions. Close your eyes and imagine. Music fills the air, fireworks light up the sky, and the streets are alive with excitement. This is the spirit of Spain's festivals. One of the most famous is San Fermín in Pamplona. It happens every July. Imagine a quiet street at sunrise. The sun is just starting to rise, and a crowd begins to gather. Suddenly, a rocket is fired into the sky. The bull run has begun. In this festival, brave runners dash through the narrow streets of Pamplona with bulls chasing behind them. The sound of hooves echoes on the cobblestones. The runners wear white clothes with red scarves. Some run fast, laughing. Others move carefully, their hearts racing. It is dangerous, but it is also thrilling. For the people of Pamplona, it is a way to honor their traditions. After the run, there are parades, music, and dancing. The whole city celebrates. Now, let's travel to Valencia in March. The streets are filled with giant statues made of wood, paper, and cardboard. These are the fallas, and they are works of art. Some are funny, showing cartoon-like characters. Others are serious, telling stories about life and history. For days, people admire the statues, but on the final night, something incredible happens. The statues are burned in a huge bonfire. Flames rise high into the night sky. The heat is intense, and the crowd cheers as the fire consumes the creations. This festival is both joyful and emotional. It is about letting go and starting fresh. The fire clears the way for new beginnings. In April, the city of Seville shines with lights and music during the Feria de Abril. Imagine walking into a fairground filled with colorful tents. Each tent is decorated and filled with people eating, drinking, and dancing. The women wear bright, ruffled dresses. The men wear traditional suits. The music of flamenco fills the air. Dancers move with grace and passion. You can hear the rhythmic clapping of hands and the strumming of guitars. At night, the fairground glows with thousands of lights. Families ride on carousels, eat sweet treats, and enjoy the magic of the festival. It is a time of happiness and community, But not all festivals in Spain are about fire or music. Some are deeply spiritual, like Semana Santa or Holy Week. This takes place in the week before Easter. In cities like Seville, Malaga, and Granada, processions fill the streets. Imagine the silence of a crowd at night. The only sound is the slow beat of a drum. Then you see it, a large, decorated float carried by men. On the float is a statue of Jesus or the Virgin Mary, surrounded by candles. The men carrying the float move carefully, step by step. It is heavy, but they are proud. Behind them, people sing solemn songs. For many, it is a moment of deep faith and reflection. Other festivals are full of fun and surprises. In Buñol, near Valencia, the Tomatina takes place every August. Imagine thousands of people in the streets throwing tomatoes at each other. It is messy, wild, and joyful. By the end, everyone is covered in red. The carnival in Cádiz and Tenerife is another festival of fun. It is a time for costumes, parades, and music. People dress as clowns, pirates, and other colorful characters. The streets become a stage, and everyone is a performer. In Galicia, the Rapa das Bestas is a unique tradition. In this festival, people gather to tame wild horses. The horses are brought down from the mountains, and the villagers work together to trim their manes and tails. It is a tradition of strength and skill. Every region of Spain has its own festivals, each with its own character. In the Basque country, the Astenagusia is a week-long party with music, sports, and dancing. In Catalonia, the Castells Festival features human towers. People climb on top of each other to create towers that reach incredible heights. These festivals are more than celebrations. They are a way for people to connect with their past and with each other. They bring families, friends, and communities together. Imagine being at one of these festivals, the colors, the sounds, the energy. It is impossible not to feel alive. You can taste the food, hear the laughter, and see the joy in people's faces. Spain's festivals also show the country's diversity. Each region has its own traditions, its own way of celebrating. Together, they create a rich tapestry of culture. But festivals are not just for fun. They are also a time to reflect. They remind people of the past, of struggles, victories, and the journey that brought them to the present. They are moments to honor history, faith, and community. As the year passes, each festival adds its own chapter to Spain's story. From the flames of Las Fallas to the silence of Semana Santa, from the thrill of the bull run to the joy of the Tomatina, every celebration is unique. And yet, they all share one thing: the spirit of Spain. A spirit that loves life, embraces tradition, and celebrates with all its heart. Imagine leaving one of these festivals. Your feet are tired from dancing. Your face hurts from smiling, but your heart is full. You have felt the magic of Spain's festivals, and it stays with you. Spain is a land of joy. Its festivals are a reminder that life is meant to be celebrated. They are a gift to the world, an invitation to join in the fun, to feel the passion, and to share the moment. Chapter 12. Spain today and tomorrow. Spain is a land of contrasts. It is a place where the past and present live side by side. Imagine standing in the middle of Madrid. Around you are tall, modern buildings. The streets are filled with cars, buses, and people rushing to work. But look closely, and you will see pieces of history. An old church, a hidden plaza, a statue from long ago. This is Spain today. A country full of life, energy, and possibility. Madrid, the capital, is a vibrant city. It is home to some of the best art museums in the world, like the Prado and the Reina Sofia. Here, you can see masterpieces by artists like Velázquez, Goya, and Picasso. But Madrid is not just about art. Its streets are alive with cafes, shops, and theaters. At night, the city sparkles with lights, and people gather to enjoy music, food, and conversation. To the east, Barcelona shines with creativity. The city is famous for its architecture, especially the works of Antoni Gaudí. Imagine walking through Park Güell, where colorful mosaics cover benches and walls, or standing in front of the Sagrada Familia, a church so unique it feels like a dream. Barcelona is also a hub of innovation, blending tradition with modern ideas. Beyond the cities, Spain's countryside offers peace and beauty. In the north, green mountains roll toward the sea. In the south, olive trees stretch across the land under a bright sun. The Canary Islands, far off the coast of Africa, are full of volcanic landscapes and sandy beaches. Spain's natural beauty is as diverse as its people. But Spain is not just a place of beauty. It is a place of hard work and progress. After years of struggle, the country has become a leader in renewable energy. Imagine fields of wind turbines turning in the breeze, or solar panels soaking up the sun. Spain is looking to the future, finding new ways to protect the planet. Technology is also shaping modern Spain. In cities like Bilbao, Valencia, and Malaga, science and innovation are growing. Spain is part of the global conversation, creating solutions for today's challenges. Still, the country remains proud of its traditions. In small villages, people gather to celebrate festivals as they have for centuries. Farmers bring their crops to market. Families pass down recipes, stories, and crafts. These traditions remind Spain of its roots and keep its culture alive. Spain's people are its greatest strength. They are warm, welcoming, and full of passion. They value family and community. They know how to work hard, but also how to enjoy life. This balance of old and new, work and play, is what makes Spain special. The country has faced many challenges in its history: wars, dictatorships, economic struggles. But it has always risen again. Its people have shown resilience, creativity, and hope. Today, Spain is a democracy with a strong voice in Europe and the world. It is part of the European Union, working with other nations to build a better future. Spanish companies, scientists, and artists continue to make their mark globally. But Spain also faces questions. Regional tensions, like those in Catalonia, challenge its unity. Economic inequality is another issue. And like all nations, Spain must deal with the effects of climate change. These challenges remind the country that the future is not guaranteed. It must be built step by step. Still, Spain moves forward with determination. Its story is one of transformation and possibility. Imagine a young girl in Seville, dreaming of becoming a flamenco dancer, or a scientist in Madrid, working late in a lab, or a farmer in Galicia, tending to his sheep in the morning mist. Each of them is part of Spain's future. Each adds a thread to the tapestry of its story. Spain's culture continues to inspire the world. Its food, music, art, and traditions are celebrated far beyond its borders. Tourists flock to see its landmarks, taste its dishes, and feel its rhythm. Spain shares its heart with everyone who visits. And what about tomorrow? What will Spain's next chapter be? Perhaps it will be one of even greater unity, where differences are celebrated and people work together for a common goal. Perhaps it will be a story of discovery, as Spain leads the way in science and technology. Or perhaps it will simply be a continuation of what makes Spain special. A place where life is lived with passion, joy, and purpose. The future is unwritten, but Spain has shown that it can rise to any challenge. Its past is full of lessons. Its present is full of energy. And its future is full of hope.